Welcome to the second part of our interview with Tina Pullis-Kraus. Last week we had lots of fun talking about personal transformation from burnout to bliss. If you haven't listened or watched that episode, please go and listen because we also had a little challenge at the end that's very powerful. But today we're going to dive into a specific methodology that you shared, that you have, and that you support people with. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah. And I think there was a certain point in the journey where, when I started coaching, I mean, the first part of my journey was just me, like getting to the point where I could self-lead myself in a much better way. But then, came that point where it's like, wow, if these tools have been around and I didn't know about them, my guess is that there's a lot of other people out there that don't know about them. And I get to teach this forever, right? Like I was really committed to that. And so I started coaching people. And it was through that process that I refined my coaching methodology because I sat back and I was like, okay, everything's a process, right? Transformation is a process. Everything's a process. When I brush my teeth in the morning, it's a process. I do it literally the same way every time I brush my teeth. We just create processes in life. And so everything is a process. And so I started, what was this process? Like what process did I really go through? And I came up with CIDER strategies is what I came up with. And so CIDER strategies is a methodology that no matter if I'm coaching somebody one-on-one, or if we're at our retreat center in Florida at a VIP 3-day intensive, or if I'm in front of a team of people, like a whole team at corporate, bringing team excellence into corporate, we go through the same methodology. Because the C, so CIDER, CIDER is the acronym, and the C is clarity. Like literally, clarity can be the one word that you ever need to know. When you're stuck, all that you need to think about is what's clear. Like, get me back to clarity. What am I trying to create here? What am I trying to create here? I get stuck. I get triggered by somebody saying something. What am I trying to create here? I'm not trying to create conflict and chaos, so I'm not going to freak out. What I am trying to create here is boundaries. So I get to create a boundary, right? So, or I'm chasing all these different things. And because I'm chasing all these different things, what I really want isn't clear. So what I get to create is clarity in what it is that I really want. So there's a whole process to go through that it's like, okay, what do you really want? And it's, has anybody ever asked you that? Like Lucy, has anybody ever asked you that?
I
Like,
think in the
what do you
spaces that
really
I am
want?
now.
Yeah.
But in the past, I don't think so.
It's crazy because nobody had ever asked me that too, and I had coaches ask me that. And then when I started asking people that, because I'd be on the phone or I'd be in front of somebody, and they'd be like, "Well, I don't know," and they'd just be really like, "Well, this and that," and I'd be like, "Lucy, what do you want? Like, I don't care what they want. What do you want?" And people are like, "Oh my God, nobody's ever asked me that before." Right? So we get to get clear on what it is that we really want, not what somebody else is telling us we should want, not what something somewhere else says that we should want, not what our itty bitty shitty committee says we should want, but what do you really truly want? And if it's that promotion, let's get clear around it and go. If it's that relationship, let's get clear around it and go. Like, get clear on if it's that you want to lose that 15 pounds, let's get clear on it and then go. So no matter what's happening in your life, when you get stuck, clarity is always the very first thing to search for. What do I want right now? What do I want right now? I'm stuck. Like sometimes just naming the fact that you're stuck is what you need and getting clear. Okay, I get to get clear. What do I want right now? Okay, I really want to lose that weight. Great. I'm going to put this bag of Cheetos then back in the drawer and I'm not going to eat them. Right? Oh, okay. I'm going to take a second look at that report before I hand it back in because I want to make sure that there's no mistakes. Or I want to make sure that you and I have a solid relationship so I get to have the difficult conversation instead of continuing to run away from it. Because when I run away from it, the loop is continuing to happen and I keep coming back to unclear. And now we're back in our mess and we're back where we're at in the conflict. But if I'm clear that I really want a solid relationship with you, and I'm clear about that, I get to move into intention, which is the I in CIDER. So now that I'm clear on what I really want, great. What's your intention? What's the intention around it? Which is, intention is just another way to say plan. I say I wake up in the morning and I say my contract, I'm a powerful, authentic, loving leader. That's my plan for the day. Today I plan to be powerful. Today I plan to be authentic. Today I plan to be loving. Like when we set the intention out into the universe, when we put that energy out into the universe will bring it back. Because what you're putting out there is coming back. And when I'm putting out indecision, when I'm putting out unclear, when I'm putting out, whatever it is that I'm putting out, it's what's coming back. So getting a clear plan around what that intention looks like. Okay, great. I'm going to use weight loss as an example just because it's an easy example to use, right? Okay, I'm clear. I want to lose 15 pounds. I'm clear. 15 pounds. Great. My intention then is that I'm going to do that within the next 45 days. And I'm committed to working out 3 times a week in order to do that. That's my plan. That's the intention. And I'm also going to cut out all sugar. So now I'm clear on my plan. I'm clear on what I want, and I'm clear on how it's going to happen. The D is discipline. Now I get to have discipline to follow through with that plan. And I use Cheetos a lot as an example because I love Cheetos. And I used to love sitting on the couch at night and eating Cheetos. And it's why I was overweight, right? But D is discipline. So D is, how am I going to stay disciplined? How am I going to make sure that I follow through on this? Because New Year's resolutions is a great example. By the end of January, what is it? Like 98% of New Year's resolutions have not happened. They're already out the door. So how am I going to stay disciplined to make this happen? Maybe you and I, Lucy, need to set up an accountability call once a month so that I can ask you for support to make sure that I'm staying disciplined. Maybe I need to call you every day. Maybe I get to text you as my coach every day that I did good today, or maybe where I messed up. Like, what's the discipline? Who are you going to call in? How are you going to discipline yourself? Getting really clear around, this is how I'm going to stay disciplined. And then the E for CIDER is energy. And this is where the burnout comes in, right? Because when we're not living our life in an authentic way, it gets heavy and it gets hard. And if I have a plan and I'm not living that plan, chances are my energy is in the tank. So being really, really aware of how to self-care. So what's your self-care plan is the E. So great, I've got this great plan that I'm clear on, and I have an intentional plan. I've got this great goal that I'm going to do. I'm clear on it. I'm intentional about my plan. I know the discipline. I know who I'm going to call in to help support me. And I'm going to make sure that every Saturday afternoon that I'm still going to the park because I love to go to the park. And I want to make sure that I do that at least once a week. Or roller skating. And I don't know why that example is coming up in my head, but right, whatever it is that you love, whatever it is that gives you energy, whatever self-care it is that keeps you moving, it gets to stay in the plan because that's how you take care of yourself. And then the R is reset. So when you get off track, and you will, we all do, how quickly can you reset yourself back to the C? It's a big old loop all the way back to the C. Okay, I'm off track. How do I get clear? How do I get back on track? I'm off. How do I get clear and get back on track? So it's a loop. The CIDER is a loop for any kind of goal, for any kind of project, for any kind of thing that you've got going on that you're trying to develop or create that keeps you on track and keeps you accountable to actually make it happen. Again, it's that blueprint. It's that way of being. So that E in energy is those are your values. When I feel my energy is depleted, what's my contract? Oh yeah, I'm a powerful, authentic, loving leader. What's missing right now? What's missing right now? Your power is missing right now. Okay, great. What do I need? I need to go take a break. Okay. For me, my reset is a hot bath and meditation. Like literally 90% of the time, I will come out of that and I will be reset. Okay, I'm clear. I'm back to it. I'm back in. So what's that thing? Is it reading a book? Is it taking a walk? Is it playing golf? Is it phoning a friend? Is it listening to music? Is it dancing? What's that thing that's going to reset you quickly so that you're not on the bathroom floor? I use bathroom floor as an example a lot. When we're on the bathroom floor, we're not creating the beautiful life that we know we can create. When I'm on the bathroom floor, now I'm in victim, now I'm in ick, I'm in, oh, I'm not creating what it is that I want to create. Get off the bathroom floor and get clear, back to the C, clear on what you want to do. And maybe that first step, when you've been on the bathroom floor like that, maybe the clear is, I'm going to take a shower today. Maybe that clear is, I'm going to listen to my music today. Maybe that clear is, I'm just going to get out of bed today. But until you take that first step to get clear on what it is that you really want, it's going to feel really, really overwhelming. But CIDER strategies is a methodology, it's a way to constantly come back to the clarity of what it is that you're really trying to create, whether that's in your work, whether that's personal, whether it's in a relationship, whatever it is. But, there are times when my husband and I, from a relationship perspective, we're like, we got to cider this out. That's what we call it. We got to cider this
I
out,
love that.
right? I'm not clear on where we're at. And so we sit down, we have a conversation. Like it's really just about continuing to make sure that we're always aligned and in communication with the people around us and what we're creating, whether it's creating our family or whether it's creating our work. But when we're living in the chaos and caught up in the noise, we're not creating what it is that we really want to create. And we can either choose to sit in that or we can choose to get clear on what we really want and move in that direction. So that's the CIDER strategies that supports people to really find what they really want and move in a direction that's going to get them there.
I love that. And thank you so much for sharing it. I think that's a very powerful strategy. Simple yet powerful. Yet what's simple can be very hard sometimes too. What would you say? And part of that, it sounds like, is the self awareness piece. Because if we are not aware what's happening, we cannot be intentional. We cannot say, okay, what's missing here? What would you say helps you to stay aware or self aware?
I think grace kept coming up when you were going there. Grace is a big thing because when you're not in the development. So if I'm not even thinking about any of this, I'm still off like I'm not even in the development arena, right? I'm still living in the matrix. I'm still unconscious. I still don't have a clue what's happening around me. But once you go, no, I'm going to tackle this. I'm aware now. I may not have the answers or have it figured out, but I'm aware of it. I think that there's this grace that we get to give ourselves. And it's not always easy. Sometimes it's why you need a coach so your coach can remind you to give yourself grace. But if I was living unconsciously 100% of the time before, and now I've chosen to do this, and whenever this thought that you're talking about is coming up, even if that was only a month ago, and I'm at maybe 95% of the time now because I just realized that. I've never realized that in my entire life, but now I'm realizing it and I'm way earlier in the game. It's about giving yourself grace along and in and through the journey, knowing that it's always going to be there. Like that stuff is always going to be there. It's just about you learning to be aware of it quicker and faster and moving through it quicker and faster. So if before I was clear 0% of the time, and today I can say, you know what? I'm like 20% clear. Like I lived this week 20% of the time in a better spot than I ever have. You get to celebrate that. It may not seem like a big thing, but you get to celebrate yourself along the way. So one of the things that I have my coaching clients do, I call it heads and tails meetings with themselves. But every single day you have a heads and tails meeting with yourself. Hey, my intent, you wake up in the morning. How many times do we grab this automatically when we wake up in the morning? Don't grab your phone. You wake up in the morning and you go, my intention for today is to be powerful, authentic, and loving. I get to create massive, amounts of energy today. I get to go and do this and that and really you know, checking in with yourself and going, this is what I get to create today. And then at the end of the day, how'd I do today? And being honest with yourself. You know what? You get to give yourself a pat on the back today. You did good today, Tina. And start being your own best cheerleader. Or you get to say, you know what? I did better and I'm proud of that. I wasn't perfect. So for all my perfectionists out there, which I tend to be one, no, perfection is boring. Ew. Right? Start thinking perfection is boring. We don't want to be perfect. We want to be authentic. And if I can be authentic 10% today when it's been 0% my whole life, that's a big honkin' win. And I get to celebrate that even though it wasn't perfect. And I get to commit to 20% tomorrow. And then the next day, 30%. And then the next week, 40%. And then the next month, 50%. And pretty soon, I'm operating 90% of the time in my zone of genius, which are my 3 values. So it's about giving yourself grace and celebrating the progress along the way, because it's not, if it happens overnight, please call me, because you are an extra special unicorn and I need to interview you from my podcast. But I've been in this for 10 years now, and I'd be like, oh, I'm out of it. I'm going to go take a bath and meditate, because I am like, I'm in it right now. So it's just about being aware when you're in it and shifting yourself out of it. And the quicker and faster you can shift out of it, the quicker and faster you get back to your amazing self and being able to have the impact in your life that you know you can create.
I love that. And before I ask about your podcast and how people can reach out to you and possibly even work with you,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody just got into the podcast right at this moment and they haven't listened the previous part, please go to listen, even the part number 1 from last week. What would you say are 1 or 2 key takeaways from all
Oh,
that we've talked about? I know it's difficult
it's
because there's so
amazing.
many.
Yeah. No, this is a great question. So the name of my podcast is Your Leadership Legacy. And the first thing that I would tell people is that you do not have to have a leadership title to listen to this podcast. We are all leaders. We lead in every area of our life. We lead ourselves, we lead our families, we lead our relationships, we lead personally, we lead professionally. We are leaders. We are all leaders. And so your leadership legacy is about waking people up to the legacy that they're leaving, because you're leaving a legacy. You're leaving a legacy one way or the other. Is it the legacy that you really want to leave? And way too often, I've heard people way too late in life wake up to the fact that I wasn't conscious to what legacy I was leaving until it was too late. It's never too late, but until I was, I wish I would have learned that earlier in my life. And so when we are conscious, and intentional about living our best life, about showing up as our best self, about taking ourselves on and really being clear about what we want to create, it creates a joyful life. It's an easier life. It's more fun. It's flowy. Like, we are the ones that hold ourselves back from all the goodness and all the joy in life. I held myself back from it for the first 50 years of my life. And there's no blame or shame. So I want to make sure that that's like, it all happens for a reason. I don't have any blame or shame around it. And today I get to live every single minute understanding that how I show up in every way is what's leaving my legacy. And is it the legacy that I really truly want to leave? So those would be the 2 things that I would say.
I love that. Very powerful. Who are usually the people that you work with?
Mm,
Um, and how they can reach out to you?
yeah. I usually a couple of different uh characteristics, I think. One is self owned businesses. So I work with leaders who are in process of creating a business or in process of leading a small business. And and that was the first, I led a business and I was a manager of that business in my career through the insurance world. And so um I work with them because here's what happens in a small business. You wear all the hats. You're wearing the marketing hat and the finance hat and the customer service hat and the sales hat, and you're wearing all the hats. And if you're like me, I didn't leave corporate to run a business. I left corporate to do the work that I'm doing. And it was about a year into it where I was like, this business stuff is a real drag, right? And it's legit. And so I work with people to really support them to learn how to take the hats off and start scaling, how to hire the right people, how to set up the processes and the systems in the business, so that you don't have the spinning of the wheels that tends to happen when we're wearing all the hats. So that's one side of what I do. The other side is I coach a lot of women who were me, which means they're in corporate as we speak. They're burnt out. They're not spending the time with their family that they want to. By the time they get home at night, all they want to do is go to bed, but there's a mountain of chores and everything else to do. So I support women who are burnt out to find their bliss, to put systems and processes in place to make life easier, to find the flow, to let go of the negative thoughts and the negative Nelly, and to really rise into their own leadership so that they can create the family life and the professional life that they say they really want to create.
I love that. You also mentioned you have a center in Florida
We
for
do, yeah.
retreats.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. So, it's kind of it's like the bow, it's the pretty bow that we put on top because the reason I'm here today doing what I do is because of my daughter and her breakdown and where she went in her life. And so after she got done with drug and alcohol rehab, she's been sober since. So I always forget to tell that part of the story, which is terrible, but she's been sober ever since. And her journey when she got done with drug and alcohol rehab was she went to psychic school. So today she's a powerful spiritual healer, a psychic reader. And so what's so powerful about our resort space in Florida is we did that because as I was going through my transformation, it was one thing if you and I would get on the call and I would have an hour coaching call. Very supportive. It always supported. What massively supported is when I would take time out of my normal life and go away for 2 or 3 days to a retreat and just block the rest of the world out so that I was there and I could go quicker, faster, and like the transformation that would be created was amazing. And so I wanted to create that for people because that's where the transformation happens. And so we've created that space so that people can come in and we've got that 3-day retreat where transformation happens. Like, and it's the most beautiful. If I could do retreats there every weekend, it would be the only thing that I would do. Like, I love doing them because it's just, you come in, we watch these women, and we've had a couple men now too come to them, but we watch people come in and they're burnt out. I hate life. Life sucks, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we've all been there. We all know what that feels like. And they leave on fire. They leave with a plan. They leave confident. They leave like fired up and ready to go. And that's what that 3 days is because I can dig in with you and we can go deep and far and fast in that 3 days. And there's a certain process that we go through to get there. So yeah, retreats are amazing because you get to go fast in a short amount of time.
I love it. Tina, when somebody's listening and they say, I need a retreat, how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah. So I'm all over social media. TinaPaulusKraus.com is my actual website. So it's TINA. I'm spelling it out because it's so ridiculous. TINAPAULUSKRAUSE.com. But all of my stuff is on there, is on that website. I'm all over social media, Coach TPK or Tina Paulus Kraus. I've got a couple of private groups where we do card readings and stuff like that. So reach out. I would love to work with you. We've got some really amazing, and we just started a coaching certification as well. So I should mention that we can certify coaches. So that's been really fun.
And for all coaches listening, you can also check that out. Tina, it's been amazing pleasure to have you as a guest and talking about topics that I'm very passionate about myself and hearing your transformation and your daughter's transformation and how you're helping creating legacy through all that and helping others transform and live more conscious and intentional lives. So thank you for all your work.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.